And I give the call to the member for Page.
Speaker, and I thank the compliment from the member opposite. He said this will be good. Speaker, I want to read a quote to you from the Sydney Northern Beaches Advocate on July the 7th, 2020. And the article is on a proposal for 8 wind turbines and 1 hectare solar farm at North Head in Sydney. The proposal was made by a group called the Global Warming Solution. They're self-described as a community platform made up of people determined to do something about climate change. In response to an inquiry from the Northern Beaches Advocate, the member for Warringah, Zali Segal, said this: "I'm doubtful a sensitive environmental and culturally significant area like North Head is an appropriate location." Now, Speaker, that says everything about the sanctimony corner over there with the teals and the greens and the sanctimony line down there of inner city MP, Speaker. Because we could imagine, couldn't we, North Head, 8 turbines on the hill there, how much that culturally would upset sailing around Sydney Harbour, how much it would upset having a double macchiato, Sydney Bower there, etc., Speaker, but would just destroy culturally everything that happens in Sydney. We understand that environmentally 1 hectare, not a big space, Deputy Speaker, how much environmental damage that would do. Now, Speaker, I don't have a problem so much that the member for Warringah and other inner-city Labor MPs and Greens have said things like that about projects like that in the city. But what gets me, Speaker, is the hypocrisy of this. What gets me of the absolute hypocrisy, don't do it in my patch, but don't go hell for leather in regional and remote Australia, Deputy Speaker. That's what they're saying here. Now, not only, it gets worse though, Deputy Speaker, because the member for Warringah also, when she was talking about this, was asked about proposals that were going on in Port Stephens, which is obviously up the coast a bit, and also in the Illawarra. And you know what she said about members this side, Speaker, who voiced concerns about cultural and environmental concerns about those projects? She said they are scaremongering, we are scaremongering and spreading disinformation. Now again, there is the hypocrisy, Deputy Speaker. There is the hypocrisy of this. We can't do 8 wind turbines and a hectare of solar panels on North Head. But you know what? With Labor's reckless renewable-only policy, just to put this into perspective, Deputy Speaker, you know how many solar panels have to be built around Australia by 2030? 60 million. Not a hectare, 60 million. You know how many wind turbines are needed to get to that policy? Not 8 that we'll look for at North Head, but tens of thousands, Deputy Speaker. Now, of course, that's okay, because they can all get built in rural and regional Australia, where obviously there are no cultural or environmental issues to deal with if you listen to the hypocrisy of Sanctimony Corner. Now let's go through just some of the issues that people where I live and a lot of my colleagues live, Deputy Speaker, about the concerns we have about the tens of millions of solar panels that need to be built and the tens of thousands of wind turbines that need to be built. And we do not believe that this is scaremongering and misinformation. This is about habitat loss and fragmentation. This is about disruption of bird migration. This is about ecosystem disruption. This is about soil erosion. We don't care about it, doing the member for Hunter. Yeah, well, good on you. So if you're going to say that people in the country, you are saying farmers don't care about this. Is that what you're saying, Deputy Speaker?
Just order. I need you to direct your comments through the chair. I will not have the personal attacks going on.
Well,
okay?
I will say through you.
You can bring your remarks through me and dial it down a little bit. And interjections from the member for Hunter.
I will put direct it through you, Deputy Speaker. For the member for Hunter to say to me and to us and to people in rural and remote communities that when have we ever cared about the environment is an absolute insult. To every country person, and in fact, it's an insult to his own electorate, Deputy Speaker. The member for Hunter has just insulted his own electorate because he lives in regional Australia, and he said, "When do his members ever care about the environment?" Well, we'll let the member for Hunter electorate know that he just said that. So, not only that, Deputy Speaker, we have a lot of environmental issues. We have a lot of issues about both the environment and cultural, but also there are massive concerns. There are massive concerns that we have, Deputy Speaker, about the waste disposal of these things, Deputy Speaker.
Sorry, I'm just going to have to pull you up again. I'm actually struggling to hear you.
I'm struggling to hear myself.
Yeah.
Too.
So, trust me, colleagues who think you're being helpful to the member for Page, you're not being helpful. Member for Hunter, do not encourage this, and I'd like to hear the member for Page.
And I think what I'm saying is quite interesting, so I wish I could hear myself, Deputy Speaker. But the other major issue that no one answers about this too, Deputy Speaker, and obviously you don't hear the Greens talking about this, you don't hear the Teal Party talking about this, you don't hear inner-city Labor MPs talking about this, is the massive disposal issue that we're going to have with wind turbines and with solar panels. Because, of course, it doesn't matter, because they're not going to get disposed in the cities. A lot of environmental issues to consider there. And I want you to give out just some figures, and I'm sure some of my colleagues will give other examples of this, Deputy Speaker, but just some examples of just one project in the central west of New South Wales. Families were offered $5,000 to compensate for visual impacts. Of submissions, 96% of submissions received during an environmental impact statement objected to the project from local people. Insurance prices doubled because insurance companies are now saying, well, you know, with renewable projects next to your property, that has increased risk. The department themselves acknowledged that the construction of transmission lines would result in impacts to diversity. This particular project is dominated by agricultural land use. The project requires the permanent acquisition of 30 parcels of land for infrastructure. Families when they were objected, again, the people that were saying this were just saying, obviously, they raised concerns about impacts to landscape, visual amenity, agricultural land, socio-economic factors and biodiversity. And again, these issues are real. These issues are real for our communities and communities that people in rural and regional Australia object to. But again, with the member for Warringah, the Greens MPs and the inner-city Labor MPs, we are just scaremongering, and it's just not acceptable, Deputy Speaker, to our communities. And Deputy Speaker, when I was thinking about this, I don't know if you remember the movie Hunger Games, Deputy Speaker, but you know, Hunger Games, there was the capital. So who lives in the capital? The Teals live in the capital. The Green MPs live in the capital. There's a lot of Labor MPs live in the capital with President Snow, Deputy Speaker. But what did the sectors do? Sectors 8, 9 and 10 were ag. Sectors 8, 9 and 10 fed the capital, Deputy Speaker. Sectors 5, a lot of Sector 5 people here, they had the coal mines, they had the mining, they powered the capital, Deputy Speaker. So there were the sector. Don't be Sector 12. They bombed Sector 12. They might. Actually, I remind them the member for Fairfax would like this. Sector 13 in Hunger Games was the nuclear. Yeah, it's Sector, Deputy Speaker. So at least President Snow was aware of the need for nuclear, Deputy Speaker. But this is. You know, I see this so much in a lot of bills, a lot of legislation that I talk about now. Was the Murray-Darling Basin Plan, which affected a lot of communities, Deputy Speaker, the live export. The Prime Minister thought it was a great joke last night to insult every sheep farmer in Australia, really, about live exports and saying live exports was a terrible thing. So again, lots of legislation in this chamber is about elite city MPs, the Teals, the Greens and the inner-city Labor MPs, Deputy Speaker. A lot of legislation just there, just saying, we know what's best for you. We know what's best for you to do in the rural and regional and remote communities. We'll tell you what you can do. We'll tell you what you can't do, and we'll tell you what you do, how you will do it. Well, I can tell you, Deputy Speaker, this issue, along with a lot of others, as I just mentioned, whether it be water issues, whether it be live export, ag issues, a lot of other things, my community, Deputy Speaker, there was an uprising in Hunger Games, and they marched on the capital, Deputy Speaker. And what I'm saying is that yeah, they will. They'll come and protest. Yes, the first one, Deputy Speaker, will be the protest. Will be the protest to keep the sheep. and our communities have enough of being told what to do and what they can't do. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.